I am sick and tired of watching pro teams play Veto and having zero thought behind any of their setups. Because if you watch my streams over on twitch.tv/teetsTV, you would know that I am a Veto connoisseur. I love interceptor spots. I love his trip. I love his TP setups. I think he's a really creative sentinel, and I like to watch pro games where they play this guy. Now, the most recent match where they played Veto was a match between RRQ and Zeta Division, and not a Fracture, which I think is one of Veto's best maps, because he can deny a lot of utility with his interceptor, whether it's raise nades, tail missiles, neon stun, waylay slow, all that type of thing. RRQ and Zeta used him like crap. So I'm going to be going through almost every single round of this first half and talking about why their setup sucks, what would make it better, and let's just try to explain why teams are even playing this guy. Because their setups make no sense. Starting with Pistol, I don't mind what the offense Veto is going to do. I don't mind his buy with the one teleport. I'm going to explain what he does with that later. But I have a pretty big problem with how the defense are playing on B. So on Fracture, a lot of teams will opt for a 4-1 setup where the one person tries to anchor and buy time while these four push out one part of the map and try to get a read on what the defense are doing, or push through an extra avenue when it comes for the retake. They'll maybe send like 3 players up B main, maybe an extra person through spawn, and then from here you can have like a 3-person crunch on the offense. Now, if Veto's plan is to anchor down in tower with his interceptor and a ghost, keep in mind this is not really a close range weapon, I have a very big problem with the setup, because if your job is to anchor in tower, which again is a close quarter combat area, why aren't you buying his trip? I feel like teams haven't put a lot of thought into his trip, and when I saw that setup, I was like, surely there's something better that we could do in order to anchor tower, right? Well, literally on my own, it took me a half hour to find, not even, it took me like 10 minutes to find 3 different trip spots that would be optimal if you wanted to anchor tower. So here's this one that's more towards site. I'm sure you can find lineups for these anywhere. So this first trip is towards site. It is up on this bar, and as soon as you walk up these stairs, it's going to tag you and it's going to seize you. So if you're playing Veto, you could sit here and focus on this left side, right, until this trip gets broken or you hear it go off. You could play here, you hear it go off, right? You can turn around and you jump around the corner and right click a guy. They're tethered, they're decayed, you get the idea. Same thing with this. If someone's running the rope up in the tower, you could see that this trip latches on pretty quick. I don't think somebody is going to catch you or catch the trip or expect the trip while you're shooting them from this angle. Even this, I didn't find one on my own, but I'm sure that once the buy phase ends, you could land. Yeah, there you go. I'm sure there's some stupid lineup that you could put right here, and then when somebody takes the rope, right, they're getting ready to take the rope and they get tethered or something, it'll alert you that somebody's in this area, they're going to be tethered, they're going to be decayed. Same with this right here. Now, I don't have anybody to test to see if this latches on, but what I'm trying to say is that there's no server time or no thought put into this setup. I mean, all over Twitter and short form content, you hear that Veto's trip is a projectile. You can throw it places, you can shove it in these nooks and crannies, and I feel like this anchor setup just doesn't do anything, right? So let's go back to the game. I'm going to skip through the round a little bit, but the offense end up faking A. They end up going B. Veto puts his teleport under site, which could be a little risky, right? If the defense pushed out arcade, they might see this a little early, and he might get punished if he ever ends up taking it. But watch Veto's anchor job, right? He's peeking out towards arcade. He can't watch both sides at the same time. He's going to flip on his interceptor. It is currently on. And Neon's going to know that somebody's up in here, so she's calling her buddy over to come trade this guy out. And he gets traded out. Like, this isn't really like an anchor job. Like, this isn't really what you want if you're the defense. You didn't really stall. You didn't really buy your team any time. And RRQ end up losing this round. So now we're going to go to the very next round. And again, we have some pretty bad Veto usage. Veto is solo A, and you're going to see in a minute that he has 0 utility down. Not even his interceptor, which is free. Which makes me beg the question, if you're going to put Veto on his lonesome and not have him use any utility to stop a push or anything, why not just swap Brim and Veto? Like, Veto doesn't really have anything to stop a push that besides his trip if you end up putting it in a good spot. So I'm going to talk more about this later, but why not have Brim be the anchor and Veto play with the team so that we could use his interceptor? Don't you think that, like, I don't know, an interceptor like behind this box or up against this wall or even to stall a B main push so these guys can turn around and fight it would be, I don't know, a million times better than having Veto be on his lonesome? I mean, he doesn't use any utility. But also, this offense trip sucks too, right? If your job here is to hold the B main push, why not put it behind this little box? It covers this whole gap, so the defense still have to commit to break it because they have to cross this line. Or 2, if it's to watch flank, why not put it in a better spot? Let me show you what that looks like. So if you want a good trip that holds flank, this is the one to throw. Because if anybody pushes B, they're going to get tagged in it. And if anybody wants to take the rope, like if they get off the rope, they're going to land in this. And if they want to take the rope to go to arcade, this is the one they get on, right? So like you're covering all your bases with this trip, right? So I don't know, that just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And then again, this setup doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now I guess Brim is on his own, so this trip does seem to be a little bit better if Brim is going to be on his own, so we can get information a little sooner. So Veto might not be there to help him as quick, but I guess at the start of the round, Veto could also throw the trip and then just leave Brimstone to join these three guys. But whatever. The bigger issue I have is with the defense. So you're going to see a second. I should play this for a second longer. Veto's setup doesn't make a lot of sense. He's playing on top of Jenny while two teammates fight B main behind a smoke, and he has a TP to get out, obviously, and another one for a fast rotate. Now, this doesn't make any sense because why is Veto watching his own trip, right? And why are these two fighting like kind of on their own when Veto is here to help them? Now, I'm not here to rewrite the RRQ's entire game plan. I'm not saying that playing Neon and Sky here are optimal either, but to try and stick to RRQ's game plan as much as possible, why not just have a teleport on top of this box and then another one in spawn, preferably here? Because when you're doing Veto's TPs, you don't want to just teleport across in a straight line because you're not saving a whole lot of time. You want to like put it in spots where you have to like rotate through, if that makes sense, right? If I could like have a TP here and then like if I'm playing top box, I can hop down and like just TP straight from here to here. That's quicker than going from here to here. So why not at the start of the round, you help your Brim and Raze take B main pretty quickly, right? You have like an insta smoke. Why not throw like a trip in it or behind it? And then as soon as you take this B main space, why not teleport onto this box and then hold arcade, right? Or like just look towards arcade to see if anybody's there yet. And if nobody's there, then you take the teleport. Let me show you what this setup would look like in real life. So as the round starts, right, Brimstone throws his smoke or whatever. You could throw your trip like there. You try and get it like more and better behind that box, or you can get it behind this box here. I mean, that works too. Obviously, you can find better lineups or throw spots for these, but smoke's down. You're like, okay, cool. We have B main control, and even better, if you want your teammates to like, maybe your Brimstone and Raze want to wrap underneath, you could even go the extra mile and put this interceptor like here or something, so that the offense can't just swing through and kill your teammates, right? So you can pop that for them, and like once all that's done, this doesn't take very long. You throw this. You throw this. Cool. You get up here. If they took arcade quick, that's fine. Dip. Don't take that teleport, right? You could push back with your teammates. You could hold the main space. Or if they haven't taken arcade quick, you could get up here. You want to put your TP up here versus back here so you're exposed to less. And then you could sit here and hold this, right? And then, obviously, you could just drop down. I don't think you really need a TP off this box. But if you want, you could have the TP a little closer. Or what you could do is you hop off the box. And then boom, you're literally instantly to A. And now I'm not saying that Veto needs to push out every round, because I think that this setup here is actually pretty good from RRQ. So if you look at the minimap, you're going to see that Veto has a trip in A main, and you're going to see that first off, I do think that having the trip out in the open is a little silly. I do think they could have it like maybe like behind this box, but I'm not sure if they could like see Sky in time first, but I'm not going to be too nitpicky, whatever. Veto's actually on top of this box with a TP out and spawn, and he has an interceptor right here to like stop any util from clearing dish. So well, their plan is that off Veto's contact, Sky's going to whip a flash, and Neon's going to run them down, and Veto hopefully have already gotten a kill, so this whole dish setup is just obliterated. And I actually think that that is a pretty good setup. And then because I wanted to keep this video quick, I just fast forwarded it a little bit. But you could see that unfortunately the offense ended up not going dish. But because Veto is on top of this tall box and you have your two teammates watching your dish, this is still a pretty good off angle to get a kill. So he's playing up here, he gets a kill, he falls back immediately, teleports out. His teammates are in spawn, you have two in dish. And because you're coming from multiple avenues, the defense end up having a successful retake. And now this... this might be my favorite setup of the whole video. So first off, the offense are going A. The trip is bad. If anybody takes the rope, they'll never know, first and foremost. But second off, what is Veto's plan here? I'm just going to play the round, and you're going to see that quickly the offense are going to fly up A main. Neon's going to go out the door, break this first intercept, this teleport, crosscut. What is his plan here? To just hang out on the open? He threw his interceptor high, so I guess maybe he thought he could fight A main, but what are the offense going to throw at this guy from this range that's going to stop him? And this is what I mean. If you're going to play Veto in a position where he's just going to stall, why not play Brimstone here? So Brimstone could use his molly to stall, or maybe he plays, Brimstone could play more towards spawn and stall, right, with the thing, because Veto can use his teleports during the buy phase. He can do things like, as soon as he spawns, he puts a teleport down, or I guess he would put it like right here, right? So he would run over to A, right, with that first teleport down. He would throw the trip, teleport, go to B, and then do some funky teleport with his team where he could do something like this. Veto spawns, puts his first teleport there. He could even, for extra credit, you could put your second one here, right? He runs all the way to A. He runs up here, throws his chokehold here. He could even put something here for Brimstone if he wanted to stall, but I don't think that's a good idea. So Brimstone can know, like, if they're dish or whatever. And then from up here, he teleports back. And he runs up here, teleports back. Or maybe this second teleport could be optimized, but whatever. It looks like Aurora Q wanted to fight topside. Why not then get ready to put an interceptor like here for your team, so you don't get neon stunned, waylay slowed, that type of thing. There just seems to be no thought in the setup. If your whole point is to stall, put an agent here who can stall. Vito's like cool and all, but like he's not like a magician. He can't just like teleport out like Chamber. And I feel like that's how these teams are playing him, and that's just not what you do. And now this round, I do think that the defensive setup is a little bit better. This is kind of similar to what I just said before, where you have 4 people plus the Veto fighting for this. He's playing for info on B main, and that's not bad. And then Brimstone can play for information and or delay over on A. Now the offense I have a small problem with, because Sayuda is on his own. I do feel like he needs to be very, 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 very careful. And you are going to see this. I don't know if he actually just threw the trip, but okay, he does throw it. So the defense just heard this trip being thrown, but that's okay. If this trip is thrown in a far enough position, right, if it gets broken and Veto is like lurking towards dish, he basically has information on this whole part of the map. Now, the problem that I have with this is that Sayuda has both of his teleports just not being used. Why not put one next to the teleport or right next to the rope so that you can take it if somebody's pushing you and then you're completely safe? But if the defense are opting for a dish Prince, you're just screwed. Like, yeah, you got the information, but now your life is just being thrown away. And now you might argue that maybe he could use the interceptor somewhere. Maybe he could use the interceptor somewhere. He could throw his E down to make sure he doesn't get crunched or whatever, and he can just pull back if he ends up taking the rope. But I don't think it's that big of a deal, because if his team takes sight quick, he can then use it to bolster a post plant. So I don't have like a huge issue with that. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. So what I'm saying is that if you have your trip here, it gets pretty early info, and yeah, I mean, it can get shot, sure, but if it does get shot, why not have a teleport right here, right? You decide to look towards dish, you're looking towards dish, maybe you see one, maybe that trip gets broken, you're like, ah, shoot, you take your teleport, you could even get up a little further, right? I mean, you can get pretty deep with this thing, and then as soon as you don't feel comfy, just get out, right? Why save your teleports? What are you saving them for? I don't think that they're that great on offense, so why not use them to gather that info? And now this round, the defense they're just clueless. Veto has no idea what he's doing. So if you look at spawn, I mean, if you look at the defense, you'll see that Veto's here. He has a teleport here, and then a teleport, like these are on top of each other. So like, what's the point? And keep in mind, this is out of a timeout. This isn't out of I think an RRQ timeout. Like, yeah, he has a strip here, and maybe he's trying to go for like some type of dish play. But like, these players are paid to play this game. Like, it is their job to go into a server, put like 5 hours in on Veto, and like practice these setups, run through them, theorycraft them with your coach, your IGL. And you might be thinking like, oh, Teets, people don't want to do that, or that's lame, or whatever. But if I do it, why can't they do it? Like, here's a better setup. It looks like our RQ setup, they want to like topside crunch, right? And maybe not, because these guys are kind of playing passive. Maybe let me see when the round starts what they end up doing. Yeah, they don't. So they get a little proactive. So if they want to go for this topside crunch, why not put your teleport here, interceptor maybe here to stop you and Brim from being pushed, or you put it for A stall or for B stall, and you crunch topside with your team, or you join this 4-stack and you push arcade while Brim tries to play stall with this interceptor. Keep in mind, as Veto, you can use your teleports during the buy phase to set up your teammate for success. So if you want to put your interceptor for Brimstone here, you can, plus a trip here. There's some pretty cool trips that you could do here, right? Let me show you what this setup looks like in game. So during the buy phase, you could set your interceptor here for your Brimstone. Then your Brimstone could play here and jiggle off it. He can tell you when to turn it on, so he doesn't get destroyed by a drone or something. And even if the offense go away, these trips are disgusting. Who's coming out of a choke point and is looking up here to break a fade? This is a fade season. seize, by the way. This is like a perfectly timed fade seize that you never have to throw, right? Who's breaking this in this cubby? And I'm sure there's more you could find. I mean, these are ones I just threw in my rank games, and they work awesome, right? So even if they go A, Brimstone, right, he could like maybe like walk out to like here, make sure this is clear, and then like as the offense are running in, he can sit here and spray through a smoke and probably get a bunch of damage, if not a kill, right? So why not opt for a setup like that? And then very briefly, I do want to talk about the offensive setup that round, the offense veto setup. So you can see they're going B. Teleport goes here, and it's in a spot where Brimstone and Breach could sit back and like watch to make sure anybody's pushed. So after Veto plants, what he can do is he throws an interceptor up high, so the defense can't flood out quick, and then he throws another teleport here, so that he teleports under site immediately, so that he can end up wrapping the defense from underneath, and then get a bunch of kills here, and then teleport back on site. I think B site with Veto is like very, very slippery, very slimy, and you'll see this round that he goes under site. I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead. He's Neon and himself end up pushing. Neon gets a kill, gets traded. They don't expect the Veto. He gets one, and he basically ends up securing the round for his team, right? Because of these teleports that he's using. So it seems like Zeta Division have a little bit more thought behind their Veto than RRQ does, but it's still really frustrating to see. All right, and then there are some rounds where you can get away with some like old chamber tech. What I like to do in ranked is like play behind this box on this off angle and get one. You can play on top of Jenny and try to get one. You could play kind of behind this box to try and get one. I'll show you what those spots look like in game. Usually I'll only do these with an operator or like a judge in tower or something. You could always like play for one, and I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. So I've sat here and played this angle, tuck, teleport out. I've done things like with an op. I think this is pretty strong. I'll sit here and then teleport out. I have played here before, but I find often enough you get pre-fired and spammed. Or up here, this isn't bad. So this setup from RQ isn't horrible. I think this is good for once a game. You could do something like this. Again, this defense setup just makes zero sense. Start of the round, Veto has a trip for arcade, and then he has his interceptor for sight. But then he starts jiggle peeking B main for early info, and I just don't know what his job is here. I still think that you could swap the Veto out with the Brimstone, and I think he could do a better job at stalling than Veto can, especially if Veto really isn't stalling sight. Why not have your interceptor here to like play with your team? So like start a round, you could throw this strip for Brimstone, you could throw an interceptor for him anywhere you want. Then you could run back, or you could use your teleports to get back to A quickly, right? Let's see, this one I thought was good, right? And then you could throw another one for like here. So like as the round starts, you could throw this strip, teleport, and you're already back on A with your team. And then let's say you even save the interceptor, right? Maybe you don't even use that for Brimstone. You just have the trip, and then Brimstone plays info with his molly, or plays the stall with his molly. Then with your interceptor, you can help your team fight A main, right? If the offense try to combat this A main reclear, you'll have the interceptor there to soak up any util. Or what you could do at the start of the round, I skipped past it a bit, but again, not trying to change RRQ's game plan. Maybe they can get a little more proactive on defense, which would be nice. Sky throws the bird out. It tags somebody, and it looks like the reaction is to fight heavy for A main. Okay, so had your Veto been here, why not throw the interceptor up against this wall? So as they're coming out, util's being soaked up, and Brimstone can still smoke from pretty deep lines on B main. He could sit here, hold B main, get ready to molly, and still smoke for his team on A. So again, I just don't think any thought is put behind this Veto. Veto is not like an anchor, like he can be like in very specific setups and whatever, but that's not what you do on Fracture. You want to fight, you want to get proactive, and when you lock Veto down to one site, you just end up losing so much value, and the score reflects that. Again, I don't get the setup. It looks like Veto is just playing in sand, and he is just vibing out. He doesn't even have his interceptor up. So yeah, it looks like he just leaves, and now his teleports are useless. And then he has a trip dish. Again, I have another setup I could show you guys, which could be way better. Why not start a round? You have a teleport here for Veto. These guys are obviously want to push through B main, right? Doesn't look like it on my drawing, but put your crosscut here, Brimsmoke deep, because he could still do that from across the map. Then you could throw your trip inside of the smoke, or you could put it around this box. And then once you have B main control, if your teammates want to hold on to it, or if you want to hold on to it as Veto, right? Let me show you in game. All right, now let's say, for example, you land your trip. right here or something, or you have it in a better spot, whatever. And let's just imagine for a second that this is smoked off, and your team wants you to hold this for them, right? While they wrap under sight, right? You send like maybe 2 under sight, and then maybe 1 back towards arcade just to spot the cross, right? And maybe he works up to like get ready to pinch this area with your teammates. Again, you're getting proactive. Now, as Veto, instead of holding sight and getting dookied on, well, like you could stick into all these like little nooks and crannies that are like impossible to punish, right? So like if the offense try to like waylay stun or neon whatever they're just getting zapped, and you're just getting destroyed, right? And then even then, if your Brimstone is calling for help on A, just leave. I mean, you could even have a quicker rotate. You could have a teleport here, and then start around. Teleport here, right? If you're playing behind this box, right? You're getting ready to fight this. You have your interceptor up. It doesn't even matter where you have it. Anywhere here is pretty good. You turn this thing on, right? You're fighting your util, you're breaking util, and then then maybe they break this and they use more utility to flush you out. You get out, or your Brimstone's calling for help. Dude, you're instantly on A. Is that not crazy? Like, I'm a content creator. I make YouTube videos. I make stupid memes for a living. And I have better Veto setups than some of these players that are paid thousands upon thousands of dollars to play this game. Where's my VCT bundle? Where's my skin? And then this round, it's the same thing. We have a Veto setup. He's going to jiggle PK main and then teleport out to spawn twice if he gets some kills. I don't know. I don't know. This interceptor protects the trip, maybe. Maybe it's above his head. This whole setup is just so horrible. Like, wouldn't it be cool? Your teammates are pushing down B main, right? Wouldn't it be cool to have like a trip inside of that smoke, or holding this somewhere, or behind this box, and then like an interceptor up in this tree, so that these 3 could safely hold arcade while, you know, your Veto's holding your B main. And then your Brimstone is just hanging out, and then Veto is just hanging out. Like, these guys aren't really doing anything. Veto just walks down to A main and just gets shot in the face. Like, I don't get it. Like, yeah, I'm a content creator. Maybe there's like some protocol or something I'm not getting, but like, I'm a Veto player. I don't know, dude. This is tilting me. I've already seen this. I've already watched this like 6 times, and I'm still getting pissed. All right, and then for the last round of the half, again, I mean, the offense do have like 4 ults. 2 of which Veto's ult counters. And I feel like when you have Veto ult, it's one of the coolest ults in the game. You are immune to almost every ability imaginable. Like, you're just immune. Nothing blinds, stuns, slows, just anything. Just mollies. Nothing can hurt you. You're invincible, right? And it's like, I feel like, don't you want to have your Veto with the pack fighting? Like, wouldn't you rather have Veto here with these 4? And then, like, your Skye doesn't have to think about how she's flashing. She just will flash right in front of you, and it doesn't matter. And you just kill everybody in this area. Or Raze could, like, throw a nade on top of you, or, like, or shoot a rocket launcher at your feet to get a trade. I don't know. I mean, again, you could throw this trip for Brimstone, have Brimstone play towards A, and then just go play with your team. I don't really get this setup. Instead, Veto just sits here, and his ult just gets 0 value. Like, what even is his plan here? To sit in this little off angle and then teleport out? It's just like, I don't get it. And, like, yeah, Auric, you know, coming back in this half, but, like, you guys know as well as I do that just because you're up, it doesn't mean you played the way you should. So, I don't know. I didn't even look at the second half. Maybe Zeta setups are better. If you guys want me to look at their setups, I could do that next. If you guys like seeing me get pissed off. But I don't know. It's late. It's like 1 a.m. for me. I gotta go to bed. Like, dude, you have so many places you can put this thing. You can put it here, and then you can push all of B main. You could even push undersight. You can push all the way back that way. If you want to push arcade with your ult, you can do this. If you want to push A main, you could even do something like this. You could even throw this here at the start of the round, like, and just say screw it and run it down. If you end up pushing like this deep, right, and you see like the enemy Veto trip sitting right here, what you could do as defense Veto is put your interceptor right here, teleport back, and like as your mid rotate to like here, you can flip your interceptor on, break this trip. And then the enemy team is going to think you're flanking when nobody's flanking at all. You could break the trip when you get here. And this is going to force somebody to come back and watch this thing. You could pre-plant your interceptor. If you're, like, you don't have to throw this thing at the start of the round, right? You don't have to, like, just put it in a stupid spot or, I don't know. I'm going to bed. Good night.